Welcome to Tzu Chi This Week. I'm Anita Lee. It's good to have you with us. Coming up, the Tzu Chi Foundation aims to erect 6 prefab classrooms for a school in Bhaktapur, Nepal. Tzu Chi volunteers in Malaysia made sticky rice dumplings for their care recipients ahead of the Dragon Boat Festival. Lastly, Tzu Chings in Chiayi, Taiwan held an outdoor event to show members of the public ways to go green in their everyday life. Since the devastating tremors damaged parts of Bajaswari Higher Secondary School in Bhaktapur, Nepal, Tzu Chi volunteers are working with the school's civil engineering students to erect 6 prefab classrooms on campus.
Stop! Stop! Go back! Stop! Stop! Stop!
The students boosted their energy with morning exercise to get ready for class. Instead of going to classrooms, some students are attending classes in the hallway. Meanwhile, other students are sharing a classroom. Bajaswari Higher Secondary School is the biggest elementary and high school in Bhaktapur, and after the recent quakes damaged the school, there are not enough classrooms. After the recent quakes damaged these 2 buildings, red labels have been placed on them, meaning they are unsafe and no longer suitable for use.
We have 2 school areas. While one area is safe, 24 classrooms in the other area have been damaged, affecting 700 students. Cracks can be seen on many school buildings. For safety reasons, the 4th and 5th floors of one building are no longer in use. Therefore, Tzu Chi volunteers decided to build prefab classrooms in the empty lot on campus. The Tzu Chi Foundation will be building 6 prefab classrooms that can accommodate 300 people. The high school teachers and students will also help assemble the classrooms. More than 20 civil engineering teachers and students break up into 3 teams. Working under the scorching sun, they hope students can study soon in safe classrooms. Among the student volunteers, female students also took up laborious work.
Our teachers and make our buildings for our schools to studies. So I feel very happy. I feel proud and I'm very excited for this work. Tzu Chi volunteers also went through the prefab classrooms assembly process and introduced Tzu Chi to the students.
After we introduced Tzu Chi, we performed Tzu Chi sign language songs for them to better understand Tzu Chi's humanitarian culture.
To ensure students can study in a safe environment, Tzu Chi volunteers are working with the school to build prefab classrooms and will continue to help the students on the school's path to recovery.
In Nepal's tent community near Swayambhunath, Kathmandu, Tzu Chi volunteers came across an elderly Tibetan monk who looked frail and worn out. Upon learning more of his needs, volunteers prepared some new clothes and for the monk to help him freshen up.
This lone figure of an elderly Tibetan monk caught the attention of the Tzu Chi volunteers here in Nepal. This monk left the mountains looking for help. However, with no place to sleep, he became dirty and warm. Volunteers prepared a brand new set of clothes and chose a remote corner to wash the elderly monk.
We wanted to clean him up, but he doesn't wear lay clothes anymore. So we had to ask around to purchase a set of monk robes and accessories before he permitted us to help him.
Volunteers also trimmed the monk's facial hair. Refreshed, the monk is full of energy and hoping to gather blessings for those who have helped him.
He's like a bodhisattva because the master cannot be here with us, but her heart is here with us, and she has sent so many bodhisattvas to be with us. So we are very grateful for this opportunity.
Wearing new clothes and shoes, it is as if he's reborn once more. Now the monk has only one more wish. Not asking for much, the Tibetan monk only hopes for a tent where he can be shielded from the elements.
In South Africa, Watersmith is a poor community in Ladysmith. Tzu Chi volunteers set up a soup kitchen there last October and began providing meals to the needy and also deliver meals to residents who cannot come to the soup kitchen themselves.
Sima Zhao is mentally handicapped and has large scars on her legs because of a childhood fire accident. Gogo's legs have become more swollen as she's bedridden and therefore relies on the volunteers who deliver food to her daily.
This Mary used to come and take and go back.
Oh, okay. So every time you cook.
In Watersmeet, there are many sick and poor people. To provide meals for the needy, Tzu Chi volunteers set up a soup kitchen with nearby stores donating food items. The residents eat together, enjoying the kind offerings of the volunteers. The volunteers also deliver meals to needy residents who cannot come to the kitchen. Carrying bags of rice, the volunteers walk the rough mountain roads. Despite the hard work, they're delighted to deliver supplies to care recipients. This care recipient covers herself with the blanket given by Tzu Chi volunteers and can now sleep warmly. The senior started singing, and her singing reflects the hard life she has had. Although many locals still lead a difficult life, Tzu Chi volunteers' efforts have brought much warmth to the needy here.
To celebrate Dragon Boat Festival, Tzu Chi volunteers in Malaysia have been preparing sticky rice dumplings for their care recipients. Traditionally, rice dumplings are made with glutinous rice. However, taking the health of their care recipients into consideration, volunteers replace the glutinous rice with a healthier white rice.
Moving iron frames, setting up tables and chairs, it seems as if volunteers are carrying out some sort of project here. However, they are actually preparing to make several hundred rice dumplings for care recipients. Although rice dumplings are usually prepared with glutinous rice, volunteers are bypassing traditional methods by making a healthy alternative with white rice.
Many of the care recipients have health problems. So if we give them glutinous rice dumplings, they might have trouble digesting and would feel uncomfortable after eating them.
Having already taken into account the health and nutrition of rice dumplings, volunteers take it a step further to ensure that the bamboo leaves are nicely trimmed and packaged.
Some people might not think of this, but it is actually healthier to replace sticky rice with white rice. It is not much, but we want to send them our well wishes.
Finally, just before dark, volunteers finished making several hundred dumplings that they quickly packaged and delivered to the homes of the care recipients.
We gave 5 dumplings to each household, which represents our immeasurable blessings to them. We hope that the care recipients are all able to receive our blessings.
These white rice dumplings prepared by the volunteers are not only healthy and delicious, but also filled with volunteers' well wishes and love, which will surely add to the festival's joyous atmosphere.
Last weekend, volunteers of the Tzu Chi US headquarters made 1,000 vegetarian zongzi. As volunteers worked as a team to crank out glutinous rice dumplings, some young participants got a taste of Chinese culture. While in Taiwan, volunteers in Tainan's Xingying district made 5,000 vegetarian zongzi for a charity fundraiser to solicit funds to support Tzu Chi's relief efforts in Nepal.
Outside the Tzu Chi Xingying liaison office, 3 large pots are being used to boil zongzi. Inside the kitchen, Tzu Chi volunteer Zhu Meizhi is busy cooking more zongzi filling.
In Nepal, many people are without shelter or food. Therefore, we've asked our community and recycling volunteers to come together to make zongzi to be sold at this fundraiser.
As the holiday is just around the corner, and there are still many people living abroad who cannot share the holiday joy with their family, Tzu Chi volunteers are making zongzi to share some holiday joy.
We are making the zongzi to raise funds for international relief work and to help the needy.
Altogether, the volunteers made 5,000 vegetarian zongzi, which will be sold to raise funds to help needy families in Nepal and around the world. Turning to the Tzu Chi US headquarters, volunteers there have prepared ingredients to make 1,000 zongzi and will need a lot of helpers to make them in one weekend. While making the zongzi, volunteers learn cooking skills as well as important Buddhist principles.
When people start making zongzi, they tend to hold the ingredients too tightly. If we take a softer approach, things will go more smoothly.
Some young people also took part in the making of the zongzi and got a taste of Chinese culture.
My mother-in-law is good at making zongzi. We've learned from her. I'd like my son to understand the meaning of Dragon Boat Festival and care about others.
In making zongzi, the volunteers have seized an opportunity to spend time with their Dharma family and express their love and care.
The Ling family, who resides in Chiayi County, Taiwan, is a family of 7 with 5 members suffering from mental disabilities, hence is in no condition to maintain their home. Having received Tzu Chi's care over the past 9 years, the head of the family, Mr. Ling, finally opened up his heart and home to the volunteers.
Mr. Lin's house is filled with debris. The walls are obscured with layer after layer of dirt. The toilet is seriously clogged, and the house is filled with an unpleasant smell. After having been regularly cared for by Tzu Chi for 9 years, Mr. Lin agreed to let volunteers enter his home to clean up the environment.
There was the smell of filth coming from underground, so we sent for someone to unclog the toilet. Afterwards, I asked them why they didn't finish, and the plumber said that they couldn't continue due to the stench.
Volunteers worked hard to ensure that the Lin family could finally be free of their dirty home, and therefore help alleviate some of their physical and emotional suffering. As 5 members of the Lin family suffer from mental disabilities and are unable to take care of themselves, volunteers split up into 2 teams, with one group responsible for cleaning the environment and the other for giving the family a haircut.
I could see that he felt a lot better after his haircut. He even went outside for a walk, which is something that I don't think he has done in a very long time.
Dividing up the work between them, 60 Tzu Chi volunteers spent their day cleaning the home from top to bottom, from inside out, in hopes that the Lin family can live in a healthier and more sanitary environment.
What are some of the ways you can go green in your everyday life? In Taiwan, Tzu Chings in Chiayi held an outdoor environmental education event to show members of the public ways to conserve water and electricity at home. But first, let's join a group of teachers in Hong Kong as they visited the local Jingsi Hall for a day of recycling and spiritual enrichment. Staff members of Caitlin Kindergarten International Preschool are here at the Jingsi Hall in Hong Kong for a day of recycling and spiritual enrichment.
There was one Jingsi aphorism that left a deep impression on me, which was, "A truly successful person is accepted by everyone and accepts everyone." We want our students to understand that in order for them to be successful, they have to embrace all people regardless of their differences.
Next, the teachers arrived at the Tzu Chi recycling station where they tried their hand at sorting recyclables. This exercise got them thinking about the differences between need and want.
Before we buy anything, we should stop and ask ourselves whether we truly need it or not. If we purchase an item that doesn't have any practical value, we will just be creating waste. On the other hand, Tzu Chi's second-hand shop is a very good concept. It gives people a place to shop for what they need while extending an item's lease on life. It's a great idea.
After a rewarding day, the teachers hope to pass on these valuable ideas to their students. Tzu Chings from all across Chiayi, Taiwan are gathered at this cultural center to advocate the environmental mission.
其实两个亮度是差不多的，你懂吗？那你们看一下这个，谁比较多？这个比较多，是不是它耗比较多电？对不对？所以我们要换手，换这种细的、这种新型的。
Through actual demonstrations, Tzu Chings show members of the public ways to save on water and electricity in their daily lives.
大家你可以蹲下来看一下这个地方，有没有？它这是不是有装一个套子？那我们把它打开的时候，它水量其实是一样的，可是它可以会比较省，也较省水。
The Tzu Chings hope that through this event, members of the public may come to cherish our world's resources and start to make a green difference in their daily lives. Recently, Tzu Chi academies in Canada's Vancouver and Burnaby held graduation ceremonies. But first, let's take a look at the graduation ceremony held at the Tainan Tzu Chi Senior High School in Taiwan.
Wearing accessories made from recycled items, the little boy in the picture is only 5 years old. This year, that same boy is graduating from Tainan Tzu Chi Senior High School.
During my 3 years here, I took part in student services and volunteer training, and thereby broadened my views. I hope I can do my part to improve the international outlook of the Taiwanese.
In his valedictorian speech, Cai Bo-yi mentioned how impressed he was with students in China who cherished the opportunity to go to school, and it inspired him to be a better student. Next, the principal of the school talked about how he hopes graduates will make a difference in the world.
6届8年
This is our 6th graduation. The school was opened only 8 years ago, but it is obvious that our teachers have been mindfully guiding their students, while the students have been dedicated to learning Tzu Chi's humanistic culture. I hope after they leave here, they can make a difference in the universities they attend.
Teachers hope the students will be making a difference with their pure hearts and minds. Turning to Canada, the Tzu Chi Academy in Burnaby celebrated its 10th anniversary with past principals and teachers returning to join the celebration.
欢迎所有任教过慈济本拿比人文学校的老师们今天回娘家。
Seeing how much their children have matured, parents were grateful for the care provided by the Tzu Chi volunteers over the years.
The volunteering mothers cared for my child with love, so I asked myself if I should also accompany other people's children.
Graduating students also perform sign language songs in Chinese, making their teachers and parents proud.
Tzu Chi's teachers not only taught Chinese, they also taught us Jinsi aphorisms, which have helped us understand how we can serve society.
With the praise of teachers and parents, also comes more responsibilities for the students.
I hope I can work hard in the field of education, like the way a farmer cultivates his field.
Tzu Chi Academy in Vancouver also held its graduation ceremony, awarding students who had perfect attendance and outstanding performances. School alumni and teachers finally performed sign language songs to stand off this graduating class with joy and best wishes.
Tzu Chi volunteers in Malaysia recently took to the streets to canvass for donations for Tzu Chi's relief efforts in Nepal. While some shop owners showed their support right away, others made donations because they have seen the news of the volunteers' work in Nepal.
To raise funds for the relief work in Nepal, Tzu Chi volunteers in Butterworth went to a local market to solicit donations from shoppers.
Nepal punya, no problem.
I feel sad seeing the pictures. I'm grateful our country is free of disasters.
Compassion transcends boundaries and religions. Some people were touched by the news reports and made a donation upon seeing the Tzu Chi volunteers.
The volunteers went to Nepal right away, bringing tents and clothes. Then they also cooked for the people there, preparing rows and rows of food.
One member of the public even invited the volunteers to come home with him so he could write a check.
We can work together and bring help to Nepal.
The public support was a confidence builder for the volunteers. Among them, volunteer Hong Chunhe stood for a whole day in spite of the injured leg.
We should seize the moment as we don't know when impermanence will strike.
At the Tzu Chi Dialysis Center in Penang, patients and their families went to the nearby botanical gardens to canvass for donations.
We should tell everyone and inspire their love. We don't want to share collective karma. We want to create collective blessings. I'm not tired. It's a blessing to be able to help others.
These dialysis patients temporarily forgot about their own illnesses as they do their best to gather help and good wishes for quick survivors in Nepal.
In Penang, Malaysia, hundreds of Tzu Chi volunteers from Bukit Mertajam mobilized to raise money for Nepal from morning to night.
The traditional market in Bukit Mertajam, Penang has just opened for business, and Tzu Chi volunteers can already be seen standing at the entranceway, encouraging shoppers to donate to victims of the Nepal quake.
Nepal facing so much problem, our country facing so much problem. That's why I request everybody, please help for Nepal.
Although it is the weekend, the community's recycling day brings out many local residents who not only set aside personal time to help the earth, but are also accumulating spiritual wealth.
Whether it is contributing money or our strength to relieve quake victims of their pain, we will gladly do so.
Taking advantage of a public holiday, Tzu Chi volunteers head to the streets to encourage members of the public to put their love into action.
Love transcends all racial barriers. Regardless of our nationalities, we should help the quake victims.
Thank you for helping the citizens of Nepal. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
From morning to night, volunteers work in shifts to make sure no one's contributions would go amiss.
If we were to have an earthquake here, we would also need the assistance of others.
They need help, you see. They have lost their homes and belongings while we're here living comfortably. We're really lucky and truly blessed.
Love knows no boundaries and unites people of all nationalities together. With the kind-hearted contributions pouring in from all corners of the world, it is hoped that the people of Nepal may soon get their lives back on track.
For quake survivors in Nepal, being able to get a solid night's rest on a bed is considered an unimaginable luxury. After the Tzu Chi Foundation distributed folding beds in Chiayi, many residents expressed their deepest gratitude for this precious gift. We leave you with these images. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.